The first track we have today is delivering performance advertising outcomes at scale beyond traditional media platforms. And I'd like to introduce Bharat Sharma from Affinity Global.
Hello. Hey guys. Thank you so much for attending this track. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about how we can deliver scale beyond big tech, right? Like social, Google, and the big question is, why do we talk about this? The first part is the scale beyond Google and Facebook? That's the big question, and do we need to bother about that? So I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes exactly talking about how much scale and why do we need to kind of focus on these platforms beyond search and social. Um, all right, let's start with the world. I mean, there are 8.1 billion people on the planet today, and we as game developers would love it if our game was played by literally everyone on the planet. But that's not the case. There are about 5.3 billion internet users. And via big tech, you can reach about 4.1 billion internet users, which is via Google and Facebook, primarily. Um, so what about the remaining 25% of the users? So how do we get access to users beyond Google and Facebook? The big question is, who are these users? These are internet users. They are using smartphones. They are using tablets. They are using connected TVs. They are using personal laptops. And you would assume, obviously, mobile is the fastest growing device, and that's the fact about mobile is kind of 1.6 billion, which is one of the fastest growing hardwares today in the world, supported by connected TV. And when we think of mobile, we would think of Samsung and Apple, but that's not the reality. The growth is actually, in fact, coming from newer hardware manufacturers such as Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, and there are many popping up in the world. The reason being there is so much of demand out there. Like you keep hearing about microchip shortages. You keep talking about economic conditions. We keep talking about recession. So people finding alternate hardwares to kind of eventually achieve what they desire, and lots of other reasons, right? Like for example, AI, better cameras. Kids like more filters, so they kind of use flip phones. They innovation basically. Like today, I've been using an iPhone in the last 7 years, and I don't know why. Like it's literally the same. It's the same device. There's literally no innovation. So the first chance I'll get, maybe I might move to a different ecosystem. But the world is shifting fast. I mean, the Gen Zs are not so obsessed with the brand. Like for example, Apple. We used to be obsessed with that brand, but today the world is kind of innovating fast, and they are open to test new hardware, and hence we are seeing the world of OEMs evolve. Now, the big question is, what people keep asking me is the world today, right? So Google and Facebook, I mean, you can achieve 80% of your advertising needs today by advertising on big tech platforms like Google, Facebook, Meta, etc. And we think of the remaining 20% is through Apple and Samsung, and no one really cares about the problem. But tomorrow the world is changing. There might be a situation where 5 years down the line, hardware becomes the new software, where you might get access to about 50% of the users through big tech, but the remaining 50% of the users might not be accessible. So the question is, how do we get access to these set of users? So that's exactly where the world of OEM comes up, where the word OEM stands for hardware manufacturers. Let me kind of start with that. And that's exactly the reason why I'm here today. What could be the size of this problem in the next 3 to 5 years? Today it could be a 20% problem. Tomorrow it could be a 50% problem for your brand or your game. The big question is, how do we get in front of users efficiently? So that's the first topic, why, the big why. Educating you guys about OEMs. As I said, they are hardware manufacturers. The term means original equipment manufacturers. If I have to give examples, Apple and Samsung are the biggest manufacturers today in the world. But giving you guys some data, there are about 250 handset makers in the world today. They are distributing their devices over 100 plus countries, and they have shipped over a billion plus devices in 2023, and the demand still holds strong. There are actually a shortage of a billion devices today. So the question is, are we going to imagine more OEMs pop up? Absolutely, there is a demand and supply crunch. uh, I'm going to get to the point what I'm trying to make, but I just want to kind of give some background about what the OEM world looks like, right? It's a $600 billion industry. It's going to go up to $1.2 trillion by 2030. And this is an interesting fact. Actually, the OEMs today are generating only 18% of the revenue through software, just 18%. But they are actually assuming their revenue to grow up to 50% in the next 5 years, which is purely revenue driven through all the apps that come pre-bundled with every device on the handset, on the laptop, on your smartwatches, maybe on your smart glares in the future. So the software revenue is going to be growing really fast. Again, like if I have to kind of equate it, Google is about $300 billion. The OEM software industry could be about $600 billion in the next 5 years. So that's the size of this challenge that I'm talking about. We can actually reach that large number of users by having an OEM driven strategy. So that's point one. These handset makers want to be the news tomorrow's big tech, ad tech drivers in the world tomorrow. And in terms of what are these softwares, right? So as of date, 90% of the revenues come from app stores, pre-bundled app stores. With every device, there's an app store that comes in, like be it Huawei, be it Oppo, be it Xiaomi, be it Microsoft, be it Apple, in fact. Apple has its own app store, Google has its own app store, etc. But Google does not have its own hardware. Other than that, there are browsers, there are payment apps, there are utility applications, like health apps, there are calendar apps, musics. Then there are launchers. It's like your search that happens on your device. And obviously, gaming apps. So with every phone, you'll always see pre-bundled games that come along with the phone. It's an added value that the makers actually provide to their consumers to have the consumers spend more time with their phones and buy their phones more often. So this is actually what's driving 90% of the revenue today in the software space for the hardware companies. And as I mentioned, right, the future is smart, the future is OEMs, the future is hardware. Today, we spend a lot of time trying to get access to the user through Google and Facebook. The question is why. I'm a smart user. I don't need to go via the platforms to kind of reach a consumer. If I own the hardware, if you can reach me via any of these hardware platforms, via any of their softwares that's pre-bundled with the devices. So strongly believe in the future is OEMs. Tomorrow, literally everything will be smart. Your fridge will be smart. Your microwaves will be smart. Your watches will be smart. And there will be more mediums to reach the same consumer other than big tech. So that's exactly what I mean by the future is smart, the future is OEMs. So that's about the size of the problem. That's point one, right? The second part is how do we navigate around this problem? OEMs is a complex ecosystem. Google and Facebook have spent a lot of money to simplify it. Like with OEMs, what happens is, like as a game developer, you got to talk to all these different handset makers. They're based all across the world. Like your Samsungs are based in Korea, Oppos, Vivos, Huawei's. Others are based in China, and kind of have operations spread out all across the globe. So as a game developer, where we have limited resources, we got to talk to so many people. That's point one. And we have so many of the problems that we got to tackle. We got to tackle high costs. We got to tackle lack of knowledge. We got to tackle, basic well-knowns on how to kind of get our app listed in all these app stores. Like that's the basic knowledge that we are as game developers missing. So that's exactly where VV comes in. We basically help the hardware manufacturers. We talk the language of software to the hardware manufacturers, and we talk the language of media to the game developers. So for example, for game developers, we are driving awareness, clicks, actions, installs, leads. If you want to talk the ad tech language, we can talk about cost per action, cost per installs, cost per download, cost per sales, etc. And this is the language that a media company should talk and what the gaming developers understand. And similarly, we talk the software language with the hardware companies, like technical integrations, $1 million contracts. We do it all. So we kind of behave as the technology between the hardware and the software. And we've been doing this at scale. So we have helped about 2,000 brands connect with over 100 plus premium publishers, and we are driving performance in terms of numbers, in terms of conversions. I'm going to show you some data along with that. But that's exactly what VV kind of solves as a problem. You know, we kind of function as a tech layer between the hardware and the software. We function as a tech layer between the consumer and the developer. And we are trying to eliminate big tech from you to reach the consumer, simply speaking. You know, like why? My big question is why, if you want to reach a consumer, why go through Google? Why go through a search engine? So that's exactly what VB is kind of coming in the middle and solving as a problem. What we do, we maximize growth, we drive app installs, we drive website visits, we drive leads, we drive subscriptions, and we have about 3 different formats. So we have built our own formats to natively fit each of these devices. The first format is called Tiles. It's a quick access icon. Like today, when each of you all kind of open your phone, you would always see these quick access icons pop up here. So that's actually natively fits inside every device. So we have our own format sitting inside all the large handset makers. I mean, all the large, in the pre-bundled software of all the handset makers, like your app stores, your browsers, we have our Tiles listed there, which is a web product. And we have Impact, which is a simple banner ad showing up inside pre-bundled browsers, inside your launchers of your devices. And with these formats, we are able to drive app installs as well. So 3 simple formats to drive performance. Tiles, quick access icon. It's sitting on inside launchers. It's sitting inside start pages of devices. And here you can reach your consumer before they actually start their shopping journey. They can start their search journey, which makes it super high intent. And eventually you will see better performance metrics compared to any other social or content platform because the consumer has the intent, because they're going to start searching. That's our first format, and we are live across some of the largest desktop browsers out there. Like, you know, the one I like to highlight here is Opera GX, which is a gaming browser. So if you're looking to promote your game on globally to gamers, we have a browser for that, and we can help you guys get instant access to these consumers. Apart from that, if you're looking to drive large-scale reach for desktop gamers, we can achieve that by kind of promoting your ad across large, popular browsers such as Opera, such as Firefox, such as Internet Explorer. And then we can do the same thing on mobile as well. So we have our tiles on Samsung, Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, and some of the largest browsers, independent browsers that get distributed with these devices. So that's the first format, tiles. Impact. I'm just going to quickly rush through this so that we can spend more time on the numbers in terms of results. Impacts are simple banner ads placed on all these browsers and third-party app stores. Again, as I mentioned, you know, we are live with Opera. We are live with some of the largest independent browsers out there. But again, here is a format that can be used to communicate a certain offer, communicate a big launch to a certain base of users. And we are live on desktop browsers and some of the largest desktop browsers out there. Finally, app installs. You know, this is something which is relevant to the conference here. So we are working with all the third-party app stores outside of Play Store. So if you're looking for growth outside of Play Store, that's exactly the problem that VV solves. We will get your app listed on all these third-party app stores, be it a Samsung, be it Microsoft, be it Vivo, be it Xiaomi, be it Oppo. We will get the app listed, and we will also promote the app efficiently with your KPIs in mind across all these third-party app stores. So that's app installs as a product. We are live today on some of the largest third-party app stores like Samsung App Store. That's an example there. Huawei App Store, Xiaomi App Store, Oppo App Store, Vivo App Store. Then on the desktop space, we are live with Microsoft App Store as well. So we can promote desktop ads on the Microsoft Store and drive numbers, drive KPIs, drive exactly what you're looking for, which is in-app purchases. We can kind of drive leads, subscriptions, everything through these third-party app stores. So uh, today, every phone, as I mentioned, right, every handset comes with multiple applications, and today we have our formats live across all these different applications, be it OEMs, browsers, launchers, -1 screens, etc. In terms of types of publishers, we are live with some of the largest publishers out there. But like just to highlight core agency partners, today we have an exclusive contract with Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, and Samsung as well, where we function as their media vendor to basically help brands get access to these app stores in a competitive format, in an efficient way. So we function as a core agency partner for some of the largest hardware manufacturers out there. And in terms of reach, we do have access to about 1 billion users globally. It's pretty much spread across some of the largest countries in the world here. In terms of demographics, you know, it's again, it's as much as what the global standards are, about 60% male to 40% women, and new age consumers are actually adopting to the new OEMs faster. We can definitely imagine that happening. In terms of results, yeah. I spoke about why do this. Then I spoke about how do we achieve it. And then the final part is the numbers, right? So we're working with some of the largest gaming developers, gaming studios out there, and we are driving results. So we are driving ROAS, we are driving web lead subscriptions, we are driving conversions. We are doing this on desktop, and we are doing this on mobile as well. Like to give you guys some examples, we are working with Raid, driving scale for them globally, helping them reach 20 million plus users, driving subscriptions over 3,500 so far, and that's growing every day. Conversion rates healthy in the range of 2 to 5%, and they're using all of our formats, be it impact or tiles. That's one of the examples. Then, for example, global. Again, I like to highlight it because we're working with all these handset makers that distribute globally. Some of the top performing geos are US, UK, Germany, and Canada, as you can see on the screen. Another example would be World of Warships. So we're working World of Warships. We are, again, similar numbers. They are growing. They're consistently spending. They're seeing the value. And we are helping them to promote them globally, the top markets being Brazil, Japan, Vietnam, France, and that's scaling as well. So, I mean, long story short, this functions as a full funnel marketing solution. We can help you get access to 1 billion users outside of the big tech or social or search platforms. We have a daily active user base of about 500 million on the web and over 100 million plus users on app. And that's spread across some of the largest countries. The top performing geos here are obviously US, Europe, and APAC. We do have access to a lot of inventory in Brazil as well. So yeah, I am pretty much up with my time. But today, if we are looking to access about 1 billion users outside of search and social, we guys can help you out with achieving exactly that. And I believe that's my time. You can, if anyone's interested to know any more information, you can reach us at G1. All right. Any?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bharat. We have time for one question. Yes. Anybody has a question? We have a microphone going around. Jackie.
I can shout.
Shout.
I can hear you loud and clear.
The question is, all sounds fantastic. Thank you for the presentation. It's really interesting. How do you select what type of game or developer that you work with? Is there a selection criteria? Because otherwise we'd have thousands of apps going through this funnel.
I mean, there is, like, for example, if I have to ask the same question to Google or Facebook, do they select? No. We don't.